Hi, everybody. In this episode, which we can hopefully keep under 6 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about the dative of possession. But of course, so far we've really come into the possession or possessive kind of mode with the genitive, right? If we want to say that it was the island of the goddess or that she was the goddess of the country, let's do the goddess of the country. He Thea. And then if we want to say the one of the country, we're going to use an attributive position here, modifying back to the goddess. And then of, again, genitive singular, the country, koras. This was one way that in an attributive mode, and again, this is not a complete sentence, we kind of mean a ... afterward, but we have the goddess, the one of the country. We could also make the sandwich where we would say, hey, tes, koras, Thea, the goddess of the country. Maybe she's prevented the war, she stopped the bridge from being made, who knows. But we have this attributive use of the genitive to describe the goddess and be really possessive at some level. Well, also, tes koras, that could just be kind of a source of the goddess. Where is she from? She's from the country. Now we're going to get to something that's a little bit more about object possession and actual ownership. And this can only happen now that we have forms of the verb to be, which we learned in the last lesson was me or st. Again, by convention, these enclitics are accented on the ultima, but really they're just enclitics that don't have an accent, but except in the second person singular. So yeah, I'm going ahead and doing this. Why not make it official? Let's get the whole declension, or sorry, rather conjugation of me, the enclitic verb to be, up here. Esmen, again, by convention, accent on the ultima. Este, and then AC, or asen. And then also remember that this was the infinitive, ani. A thematic verb, great, that's our verb to be. A little bit of review, but I think we had time to spare in this lesson. So now with these forms of to be, we can say, let's say the soldiers have weapons. This is going to be Shelmerdine's example. The soldiers have weapons. Well, another way to explain this, or to think of this in a Greek way, would be to say that there are weapons, there exist weapons, and then for the interest of the soldiers. That is, to or for the soldiers. So the weapons kind of have their own separate existence, but they are there for the soldiers. This is a sort of possession or ownership relationship. And the Greeks are able to deal with this with a form of the verb to be and then the dative of possession. So let's go to a kind of purple and do this. So the soldiers have weapons. So what we're actually going to be doing is making weapons the subject of our sentence. And new vocab word, hopla, is, well, it really means equipment, but it became military equipment. So weapons is what we're talking about. And then esti, form of the verb to be. And also, let's think about this now. Where does this accent need to be? So this is position 2. So we have this form, and then a disyllabic enclitic. So again, we can't go back 4 accents, 1, 2, 3, or 4 syllables without an accent in Greek. So we need to put an acute on this iota. That's the rule that we learned in a previous episode. So hopla st, there are weapons, and now we just need to say to the soldiers. So tois, dative plural, masculine, stratiotais, dative plural, masculine, but first declension, noun. So there are weapons Also, note that I'm using the singular SD here, not AC. Why? Well, it's hopla. This is a neuter noun. And remember that neuter plurals take singular verbs. So even though we're really talking about weapons, we get to say the weapons is, not are in Greek. Because weapons, these neuter nouns, can take a singular verb. So there are weapons to or for the soldiers, aka the soldiers have weapons. Now let's do Shelmerdine's second example in yellow. So we'll go the other way around. We'll go from the Greek into the English. So to neania ho hippos, and then finally st. And again, what are we going to need to do here? Well, we have, it's again a position 2. So there's an acute accent here. We can't put one there. We put it here. St. And then a new at the end because it's the end of the sentence. That final new kind of closing the whole thing up. So to or for the young man, the horse is. So that's the literal left to right reading in Greek. But what we can say is the young man, make the dative of possession our subject, has a horse. Or maybe in this case, the horse. But that's a little bit, could go either way, but the is probably better. The young man has the horse. Good. Yeah, if it were just a horse, we could get rid of that. To the young man, there is the horse. The young man has the horse. The soldiers have weapons. There are weapons for the soldiers. That's the essence of the dative of possession. And we've also gone over the form of the verb to be ami, again, enclitic, but by convention, we're showing the acute accents on the ultima. Again, that's something that we wouldn't see with luo, for example. Ani is the infinitive, and a, the second person singular, you are, is for some reason non-enclitic. So just keep a note of that. Great. Well, that wraps up all the lessons for the chapter. See you in time to practice some of the examples.